Started recording for the stupid, started the recording before I even had plugged my microphone in. Amateurs. I am an amateur, not amateurs. There's not more than one here. Well, as much as I'm personally gonna miss all of the cartoon names, I think it's time to get back to where we started here. And this time with a balanced set of racers, rather than 16 angels just being like, thank you, come again. So, I think this will be hopefully a little more entertaining than the last one. A couple of changes though. I changed my car from the R8 to the Corvette because, well, A, the Corvette just won the championship in the last episode, and B, I don't really like the Audi R8 if I'm honest. The idea was I was driving it in honor of Silhouette, who, like, died, and that was kind of his supercar of choice, was the R8, because it vaguely looked like in the body shape of Silhouette too. Though, not really, actually. So that was the idea there, but I'm like, you know what? I like Corvettes a lot more. I don't like R8s for a kind of personal reason that involves the league racing I do, but it's not really the place. That's not so much. That's more just I don't care to explain it. And then Gearhead's taking over Bedlam's spot because I determined that like, first of all, Bedlam isn't really a major character. Sure, he did beat that tournament. Beat that Inferno tournament. And the or not the Inferno, the Turbo and the Nitro one, the one that you're not doing right now. But, like, other than that, he's done basically nothing. I mean, he appeared in, that was Governor that did the last race in World Race with So Fast and the Angels, but he'd appeared in a few games. He just hasn't done much in any of them. Gearhead, on the other hand, though, has kind of been a major point, and that's basically what the idea is. These are, like, what I consider, minus Dusty Angel, because I couldn't think of a driver to replace that guy. These are like the 15 most important characters of the series. The ones who've generally been around the longest, have been in the most games, and have like the most well-known cars. Of course, some of them are known for driving more than one, like Danny, who's driven like 6. But as we now get started with the actual racing, even though that's not what anyone comes here for half the time, because there's not much to come for to begin with. I did in the last episode allude to a couple of changes beforehand. I also did make the championship shorter. I took 3 races out and moved some of them around. Like Barcelona didn't start the championship before. It was actually Imola, which I moved to like the 8th spot because the literal, like, last few tracks of the race, the last few tracks of the tournament are all in Italy. All 6 of them. So yeah, there's going to be an Italian spell in the end there. I'm in the same Z4 from 14. Didn't really see a need to change that. It's not like I drive it anyway. Oh, race cam starting in last in the weaker F40, not the upgraded version, with Dusty Angel on pole. And I start next to him in the Corvette that just, you know, Buttercup just drove to a championship victory. I bet Buttercup's somewhere probably over there in the stands. Because you'd think they'd still be around, most of them. Oh, come on, Ryan. That's not the RPM for the good start. What the heck are you doing? I actually take off the best, but, poor braking. Okay, never mind. Twin Mill definitely started off better than that. Let's see, well now. Yoink is the lead from me, I'm pretty sure. I'll just kind of fall back in line behind him. And there's such discord in the location dots on the map down there as the governor just surprises X-3 a bit. We have a massive group of cars in turn 5 here. It's all just a conga line down the hill. I just went to Running Storm twice. Okay, I didn't change 16 Angels' car for Twin Mill to win the race. This isn't what I had in mind. My only thought now, maybe just that I'm in the way, no one can get around me. Because the Corvette, for some reason, is like really good at defending places. And it's not really, I don't know why it's specifically so good at it. I say that as Gearhead just yoinks that place, so he's moved up 4. Also, I changed the design because the fact that it's with Audi and it says Toyota on the back just confuses me. So now it's an actual Audi livery from when they used to use this car for rally events in like the 80s. And Vert's right next to me now. I have more power, but he has downforce, so he can brake incredibly late, and I can't do anything about it at all. I find it funny how that's car says Cloud9 in the back. Like, it's like it's referencing, it's like an accidental reference to the game we met him in, or more technically met him in World Race. Physically speaking, we did anyway. Well, you missed 16 Angels, and that one, I'll take that. To fix my cords for a second. They were getting got a lot of place on me, and now. Okay, so I think me changing to the Corvette wasn't my best decision ever. Okay, so it does seem like Twin Mill wasn't dominant. He was just, you know, ahead. As Geary and Vert have caught him massively in just the one lap that they Twin Mill had ahead of me. And I'm sure there's more impending threats behind him. Not that that would matter if they're behind me, because they're for all it's worth, I'm still blocking mischievously, although it's not good for much. Oh, that's a familiar sight. Burn and Alex just accidentally tag teamed that and sent him off into the sand trap. And going 3 wide in supercars, it tends to mess up. I don't care how good you are at driving, someone's gonna mess that up. And now one can see just the difference that the upgrades made to the F40 that Stage 3 has, that 16 Angels drove in the last attempt for this basically same act really do make a difference, because now Race Cam is in last and actually losing out to like even the cars also in the back. It's so fast. I assume was hit. I don't know. Battery just like broke really badly. You know, if we're really being meant to see the tarmac, this Audi can get a decent speed down a straightaway. Alex's car sounds kind of weird from a different driver's perspective. Also, somehow Alex was passed by that after that was put in the sand. My head to guess is me just sitting there probably did something about that. Very, should we say, not incredibly smooth driving from Gearhead there, as he just sort of like bobbles the throttle. That's something I do, but that's not something that AI should be doing. Just because I do it doesn't mean it's good, it just means that I'm not good at throttle control. No real world experience kind of tends to do that. Didn't know Danny's car was so noisy though. Can do what he want though. Gearhead's car might have some good acceleration, but its top speed is not a match for Twin Mill. With that, you're getting over your head. You can't pass me on a straightaway. But your car isn't very fast in a straight line. It's only got like 290 horsepower. Twin Mill! Alright, well, Twin Mill nearly wrecked that after Alex and Byrne already did that. You cannot pass me in a straight line, but you can get bumped by 16 Angels and you can get around him at the turn later. I guess you can do that. Why do we keep doing that? My god, Danny's car is loud. These two are still bumper to bumper, but neither one has the power to pass Twin Mill down the long straightaway, and they can't get in the right place to do it through a turn. And definitely not when Vert's trying that. And so it seems like, although not by too much, Twin Mill will round the final corner here at Barcelona and win the opening round of Act 16 in a pleasingly close race, because, well, he was never passed. It's not like he was 12 seconds ahead, like 16 Angels has done on a few occasions. Despite my car definitely being unclassed, I still come in 7th place by erratically blocking the entire field for 10 minutes. And the the STC boys do not have a great day. And it was about to get worse for Ryan Storm, as it would seem. Spectacularly, the Toyota that Ryan Storm is driving doesn't even come in blue. So I had to use one that I thought said the car or the company name on it, just like, you know, how Ryan Storm drives the Hot Wheels cars. Everything that says the brand on it because he's a sellout. But it doesn't. I don't actually see the company on the car anywhere. So unless it's not on the door, could be on the hood, I guess, but I have not seen it. So originally Act 16 was supposed to be a team race, but I just sort of changed that because I was like, you know what? I don't do this often enough. I haven't done this often enough recently to, like, merit that. I should just do a normal one so that I can, you know, get back into the swing of things, because of course, as you obviously knew, there was a time where I was doing multiple ones a night, multiple nights in a row, but I've actually been getting on something of a sleep schedule as I'm recording this at 11 in the morning rather than the more usual 11 at night. If it's even that early, which it often isn't. It's usually like 2 or 3 in the morning. But managed to miraculously rehabilitate myself to, you know, sleep at a normal human time rather than, you know, falling asleep at 7 in the morning. Was that number 19 on that's car? I can't tell. And I don't want to follow them because I don't want to interfere with the race. Well, they put Twin Mill at the front again, but this time he has someone in front of him that actually is fast. Not me and my silly Corvette, which is a couple acts obsolete. And Gearhead's got like the new Shelby. I think I said this before, but he has good acceleration and he has traction, which doesn't really matter too much for an AI. But his top speed is only like 170 at most. Whereas some of these cars, such as Twin Mill and XT3, can easily crack the 190s. Some even get to 200 or so, like Burns. Because of all that power, Burns' car can't put it down so easily. Whereas Twin Mill can be much more liberal with it and just floor it out of most turns. So on corner exits and through corners themselves, Twin Mill has the advantage. As you can see, he's closing in very quickly. And Vert's got an even bigger advantage in that department. But yep, as soon as we hit an actual straightaway, Burn is off to the next dimension. That's a big brake problem from race cam there. Dusty and XC3 probably about killed each other there. I couldn't really tell from the camera I was getting. Yeah, it's clear that Ryan and I have the worst car, but it's not like Act 15 with Jimmy, Neutron, and Phineas, to where, like, the Corvette and I assume the Super 2, but we haven't seen it yet, could probably hold its own if put near the front of the pack and gain, like, you know, a point or two. Whereas the cars in the last act that were underpowered definitely couldn't. as they had many opportunities and only did it like twice. But seeing as the random starting grid seemed to want us out of the way from go, it really didn't give us the chance. But dead even on power between these two, just gonna be about who's crazier under braking. The answer is, I think XT3, but not crazy enough. I don't know, I can't tell because it didn't get him anywhere, so... As the governor and Alex are squaring off there. That's already gained 2 spots, but when it's me and Ryan, I don't really know if that's all that impressive right now to do that. I keep stupid pronoun names. It occurred to me recently that basically we have the same naming algorithm because, well, not for the same reasons, but from the Powerpuff Girls, they have him. A being, you know, a being so terrifying that saying his real name is like fear imposing as all heck. They had a much more dramatic way of wording that, but I don't remember the way that they said it at the time. But regardless, he's scary as heck, and nobody cares enough to say that his name is Satan. So. So fast, really trying that here. Yeah, where'd that get you? Nowhere. And, Twin Mill falls off a little, but Vert, on the other hand, is, not so easily deterred. And Twin Mill is now being oppressed by Danny. What I think body style-wise might be the closest thing to Suzuka that this game has to offer. Especially given the colors a lot more accurate. The Supra's green was way too bright and, I don't know, it seemed like there was too much yellow balance in there for it to actually be the correct green. And Vert makes the maneuver and takes the lead in probably the second slowest car top speed-wise. Sure, it's got handling for days, but top speed of this thing can't be much over 160. Kinda like gearheads. But I guess we'll know when we eventually get to the Monza race, which ones are really the fastest. Because that's when they'll actually hit the top speed, rather than, you know, get somewhat close to it. Danny is another such driver in the same boat as not having the most top speed. It's not as bad as Vert's. It's got a little more top speed, but it's a little heavier and a little bit bigger. Which I guess means that if Danny starts tapping to his aggressive side, it won't wreck him too much, but it will definitely wreck the other person. As you can see, top speed on the Maserati here isn't great. And that's, of course, also in the same boat, because they're all in GT4 cars, which are basically slower versions of, or basically just a little slower than GT3 cars, which is what we were seeing in Act 4, as Governor horribly misses that turn. And that just gives that an invitation to get ahead for about a third, I think an eighth of a mile, and then the Governor's like, okay, give me that back. But he's not giving that back, so... And in half a lap, Vert is 4 seconds away. Well then. Ugh. Oh, my ear just popped. Randomly. Didn't even know it was plugged to begin with, but okay. And here's another duel that we have seen time and time again. But I don't think this one will go the way we expect it to. Never mind, yeah, it will. No, what? Yeah, it will. I think it won't. That shouldn't. It might. That gets crazy under the brakes. He did what XC3 and Twin Mill couldn't do. Okay, so it didn't end the way we expected, because that was just like, I don't need to slow down. I'm hardly even going that fast anyway, and Alex totally mucks that up, so there's another free position for that. And that is now into a position where he can score points. Well, a point, not more than one. That might be about to change though, because now he's right on top of Race Cam. Danny at some point passed the Twin Mill. Must have been probably the same turn that went around so fast. In the corner, he reels himself into burn, but of course doesn't quite have the power, braking or engine, to suddenly insert the Maserati violently onto the left of Burn's car. So we'll just have to wait out the straightaway here and just, you know, be ready for round 2 in the next set of like sharp turns, or like this one apparently. As he gains like half a second back in one turn. Still nothing rash, which is a little bit uncharacteristic, but I suppose this is an AI version of Danny, not actually Danny. What? Oh, come on, oh, come on, Gearhead. That was amateur. And that will just get another bonus place on you. Yeah, that is 19. Probably explain 19 and 71 are my racing numbers. That's a lot of acceleration. Goodbye that. Let's see what you... Get a load of this! He doesn't want it, I guess. He just kind of waits. Even though this is the last lap, and any moves you make now could just easily be permanent, but okay. I guess you probably know what you're doing better than me. I don't drive slingshot. You do. And yeah, that's like did he like somehow know that Gearhead would totally screw up that turn or something? Danny is still right there, but we're now at a straightaway, and so your time is up. Although Burn did totally screw up that exit, so he might be close enough so that out of this turn you can dive into the chicane, but I don't know. And speaking of chicane, Vert is going through it, and with one more corner to go, Vert will win at Silverstone, but let's get back to these two, who Danny is definitely not close enough to do anything. Okay, well. Now we have a 5-car train down the back straightaway. Gearhead looking feisty for that position. Twin Mill looking for XT3s, and Alex looking for anyone to screw up. Oh, he had definitely a run. We just kind of ran into a very weird looking wall. Gearhead has lost another place. Can you get it back? That's not how we see. No, he definitely can't. The run on the outside that guy with his better handling. This, I guess you could say, slingshotted him around the turn. And there's me and Ryan all the way in the back, like a couple of yahoos. This is not definitely the first time where me and Ryan have suffered together, though. Think back to the couples racing, I think it was Act 6, where him and I were teammates as the two commentator drivers, and we took RX-7s. And we pretty much never scored anything. And if we did score, it was based off a mixture of blocking erratically and people not finishing the races. But usually, you've only got to do one of those to score. What's funny is basically every single one of those cars that had a team is in this race. The R8, the 458, I think the Gallardo was one of them. Maybe it wasn't. The Crossbows, which almost won, so I probably could have put him in this act, but the girls aren't supposed to be here. This is exclusively Hot Wheels and me, just like it started. And I'm sure the girls are missing it because this is their favorite track. Ironically, I'm the one with the sellout car. It even has the name of the game on it in 4 different places. Dusty is on the pole with Ryan P2. Let's see if we can maybe finally acquire some points. Though driving like that, I don't think so. A fine moment for Bert to extend his points lead, as none of the 4 in front of him are even remotely close. Twin Mill would be the next closest, but he is currently in 7th. I thought he was still in 10th. No, he has gained a lot more places than I thought. Because I didn't think he gained any, and he's already gained 3, and he's already gained 4. Well, this is definitely a Porsche act here. Okay, I thought Ryan Storm's car would be more competitive. It's better. Not good by any stretch, but it's better. I think if anything was better than the Lotus he had in the first try. I'd honestly have just taken down Act 14, but there were a couple of interesting moments. Speaking of interesting moments, as so fast as a little bit in the back now. Let's inspect that occurrence. Well, he's just always been there. Seems to have been spun. Oh, 16 Angels got into his rear wing and that just spun him around. He then waits for everyone. Not what I wanted. Definitely not what I wanted. There we go. I haven't seen things. I mean, no one got spun, but it looked like somebody got spun to that turn. This Dusty is now already 3 seconds ahead of Alex. And now we got a real fight here. It's literally the battle between the 2 points leaders for currently what is P5, 5th place. It wouldn't be all that impressive in World Race, but here it's kinda good. Tunwell seems to be getting the better of Vert here, strangely enough, given this is kind of like the definitive cornering track. The ball, after being forced on a terrible line, Twin Mill was forced to concede the place. 16 Angels is quickly escaping his partner, the governor. Couldn't think of the word. I was about to say companion, and then I was about to say like employee, and I'm like, that's not really the correct word for that at all. I guess companion could be, but it's the same thing. And Twin Mill will now once again surge back at Vert. You get kind of the same thing that they always do into that turn, where they just sort of lazy turn in and nearly hit the person, so the person has to move over. Must be some kind of strategy, but it definitely has worked for the moment. This Vert is now forced to sit back and watch Twin Mill try and make a buffer out of the governor, and I think he will. This Vert is just like out of nowhere appearing. Danny's gained 7 places, and I've seen none of this whatsoever. Some of the cars back there aren't slow either. We have Race Cam, that, and XC3 back there that could easily have just not been so easy to pass. They just were. And Burton has cleared Vert. Now it's the governor, which he's struggling a little bit more because the governor has some acceleration to him. They are very close and intensive there. Governor overstayed his welcome and now has lost that place to Vert. Meanwhile, in the next mention over here with Dusty, this lead hasn't gotten as big as I thought it would have. Alex started putting some faster laps together, but his first lap was not good. And, however, since then, he's only allowed the gap to gain about another 2 seconds since the end of lap 1. Oh my word, what is going on here? This Danny passes 2 cars at once and will make off like a bandit. Burn and Vert are still fighting. Twin Mill is trying to catch 16 Angels, the other kind of, well, one of the other 2 premier self-named cars. I have already been passed. I am in literally dead last. Not literally dead, but absolutely dead last. And we are now at 2 laps to go for Dusty Angel. Some bad braking there, though, on his end. Alex's last stop was only 1,000th of a second slower than his personal best. And Danny is the fastest on the track, as 3 people exchanged better lap times, but yeah, this is like a 12-lap race, which of course it's not ever going to be more than 10. That'd be ridiculous. The most I would do for a race is 8, and that's gonna be at like Monza, with like supercars. But even that here is only 6 laps. Because I kind of do it to death, so that's XT3 and Race Cam, the sort of lower tier robots are fighting over the last position that will score a point in the race. Man, Governor got shoved hard in this race. He started 3rd and he's down in 9th. This car isn't that bad, is it? I didn't think it was. That is Definitely the biggest difference, I think, other than, like, you know, lack of jumps. And, lack of, well, not complete lack, but general lack of, you know, nutty paint schemes on the cars is, vehicle performance in Assetto Corsa makes a bigger difference than it would in a Hot Wheels game. As you've seen, even in Beat That, it's really hard for anyone to do well. Like, for Gearhead or Verts, I'm imagining, but Ryan Storm can't. 16 Angels is starting to suffer. It's really hard. It's hard, but not as hard for them to do well. But of course, we've seen Vert, Muscle Tone, and I don't think Sphere were actually there when you didn't pick them. I imagine they don't always. They could do something. They can still produce results so fast. Of course, as we know, there's no doubt in anyone's head that he is like one of the best racers. But he's stuck in 13th because his car is not up to the spec that drivers like Danny have. And Danny is nowhere near the greatest driver. He's the best, like, miscellaneous driver. He's one of the more versatile ones, but he's not the fastest. And this kind of suits the thing he's not good at, which is racing. He's not this good at it, but he's competed for wins and has won a championship in an earlier act. He's right into the giant conga line of speed that goes from 3rd to 7th for this race. There's two cars in like perfect synchronization pull off to pass the one in front of them. Doesn't matter, because the finish line isn't down this hill. But okay. So has all three of the robots in this race, because I could have probably put Metacog in instead of Dusty Angel. And honestly, that car kind of works for Metacog, but meh. Forgot about him. The three robots finished 10, 11, 12. Gearhead was actually pretty rapid compared to some of the other cars around him, and even the ones nearer the front. His lap wasn't really that much slower than Alex's. It's just a matter of he was in 11th. Alex was in 2nd. The fastest driver was Danny, but seeing as he started last, he didn't really have many things going for him, and so for him to get 7th was a little nutty. And so after the first episode, here are your point standings. We have a tie. Alright then. Didn't see that coming. And I forgot, oh yeah, I did definitely score at Barcelona when I started 2nd place. Ryan Storm could not do the same at all. Starting from, I'm pretty sure, also 2nd place. And instead ended up also pretty much in last, just like he's had the other two races. Last or 2nd from last, because I came last in the last one. And I came last at Silverstone. Buttercup, your car is terrible. No, obviously that's not the problem. Also, Gearhead and Danny are tied, that seems fitting. So basically the way I'm actually going to end up picking drivers for Act 17, which will be the Team 1, is that I will just, mind blank. I haven't made it yet, but I'm going to be making a list of all the 55 Universe Zero characters and just picking 15 at random. Only stipulations are, well, it can't be Silhouette because he was canonically dead. That's not an official thing. It's an official thing here, though. So the only stipulation being that if we get a Powerpuff Girl, the other two have to show up as well. So I'll probably have the list written out while this uploads, and then I'll probably have chosen the drivers by the end of part 2, and then I'll probably, if I remember correctly, to actually do the thing, preview the next act in episode 3 or 4. Or both. And then have it ready on the day that I do the finale of Act 16. Yeah, so next we have Red Bull Ring, the Nürburgring GP, and Spa. And we got ourselves a game here with 3, arguably 4, if Byrne has a nice run here at Austria. Or Red Bull Ring. I call it Austria because of the F1 game. That's the country it's in. That we could have 4 people at least battling hard for winning the championship here. Vert, Twin Mill, Dusty, and Byrne could all be like competitors here. Other drivers could too, assuming they get lucky or get their stuff together. Danny, I feel like if he can get some good starting grid spots, his lap times have shown that he is one of the fastest drivers in this championship. Because he keeps starting in dead last and in that area, he cannot capitalize. So if he can get some good, like, top 6 starts, he can probably start to make his way towards them, especially on tracks like, you know, Nürburgring, where we're going to second down there. I ultimately have my own guess as to who will win the championship based on what we see here, but I am usually wrong about that sort of thing, so you know. That's not fun. Also, and you could easily tell me how much I'm wrong or right on this one. I did kind of reconsider the idea of getting a any kind of specifically PH2 or PH2 what PS2 based and or PS3 potentially based PS2 or PS3 based capture device. I would probably prefer PS2, but there are a couple of things I can do with the PS3 that involve Hot Wheels. Turbo Racing is one I could do. I could just do the Hot Wheels Cup with a bunch of characters. Provide my own character list, which does fill out all 33 or all 40 cars. I not Toe Jam because I don't know the code for that. I could look it up, but I don't really care enough because the car isn't even that good anyway. And I can only spin, if I remember right. Or at least I could only spin in the N64 version when I watched the LP of it, but I don't know about the PlayStation 1 version. Which seems ironic considering that is the version that I own. And I saw that N64 Let's Play like a year or so ago at least. They haven't even known about Turbo Racing for as long as I've known about the other PS2 games and whatnot. It would take a lot of more working around too, but I could in theory also just use... I could get a Wii one, and then I'd get the GameCube versions of Velocity X, World Race, and Stunt Track Challenge, which would be the 3 I would do a lot, because I wouldn't even do much with Beat That, nor would I do much with Track Attack, but I would probably just have them if I got the Wii version, or got a Wii thing, because I have a Wii. And along with the Speed Racer video game, which I've already made out a list for as well, for all 20 of those characters, as well as the PS2 version, which has 4 extra characters, that, I got confused. I heard the TV on upstairs and I was confused. I was like, who turned that on? Oh yeah, someone's still in the house besides me. Um, but the problem is that with all of that stuff, if I were to actually edit the videos, which I don't even edit these very much unless I have to, but I'm pretty sure I would need a computer with an editing software. And neither of those things I have immediately at my disposal. I technically would have a computer if assuming that an old Windows XP desktop could run something like Sony Vegas or whatever editing software you'd want for an Elgato, which is like the first thing I think of when it comes to capturing devices for that sort of thing. So that's kind of the other complication, other than not necessarily knowing how to like set up a captured device. It's sort of confusing. It seems like it could be confusing to me. I don't actually know. I haven't really looked into it because I don't really have one, so there's not all that much of a point as it is. Or now, anyway. That I would assume would change if I got one, because I would have to figure it out or it'd be a waste of time. Anyway, let's not reach the episode limit in the middle of a conversation. I'm just gonna end it now, because honestly I'm just ranting about nothing, so